Is it possible that, not immediately visible to us, maybe in another part of God's creation, God created other incarnate beings with rational souls?
It's not impossible, but we're going beyond the realms of what we know, okay? What we know is our own solar system and, through telescopes, through space exploration, little things about the rest of the universe. We don't know a great deal, okay? What we have in Scripture, we have God's love letter to us. So God is telling us who we are, and we have to kind of work it out ourselves using our reasoning, using our skills, and so we don't know beyond what God has revealed to us and what we know by reason. What we know by reason is limited. We know so little of the universe, so yeah.
Fascinating.
How is it that we occupy a unique place in creation as human beings versus that of an animal soul or an animal spirit, let's say?
I think it's because of our consciousness, that we have this self-consciousness, that we're able to consciously, knowingly respond to the Creator. I think someone said that the person is the reason there's something rather than nothing. It's because we're able to consciously, deliberately seek out and then respond to God, the Creator, in a loving, knowing way when we find Him. So maybe that's part of it. We have that unique place. We can go back to God rationally as well.
Yeah, I just sometimes feel like animals, they can relate to human beings in a sense that they can kind of sense emotions. They can sense that there is maybe danger, or if there something sad is happening. I can notice that my own dog, like, she's so much more cuddly, and she just it's in a sense like she can sense the emotions that are maybe happening in the room. Is that true? And how is that possible that animals are in a sense intelligent to understand and decipher emotions?
Yeah, I mean, animals have what is called a sensitive soul. Okay, it's not yet a rational soul. And so they have emotions. They say even domestic animals on a farm, they know if something is wrong in the family. Like your dogs know. Like even when my great-great-grandfather or my great-grandfather died, and he went hunting when he was young, the dogs in Waterford, the hounds in Waterford were baying, because they knew he had died, So animals have that sensitive soul, okay? We're giving them what they have. They can sometimes make kind of little judgments about things as well, they're not rational judgments, but they can figure things out a little bit, and we know that from animals, So, but that sensitive soul is different to the rational soul, okay? The rational soul is capable of subsisting by itself, existing apart from the body. It's part of our personhood. It's part of our transcendence. And it's also capable of existing beyond the body. It's not destructible, in the sense that the sensitive soul dies with the body. Okay, it's part of the body in a sense, okay? But the rational soul that we've been given by God is capable of being immortal. And since the very first philosophical movements, especially in Greek, they had a sense of the human immortality, that we could live beyond just our corporeal existence. Yeah.
This brings us to the resurrection of the body. So how can then, at death, you mentioned that our soul leaves our body, it separates from our body. How come then, our bodies, and when can they be resurrected? And how can they be resurrected again? And what will it look like?
By the power of God. That's all we know, okay? Because of the resurrected body of the risen body of Jesus. It's a power. It's not a human power. We only entertain thoughts of the resurrection because of divine existence, because God can do that, okay? And through the resurrection of Christ, we can share in His resurrection, okay? So that idea that the body, again, will be reunited with our soul, okay? And we'll enjoy God, both as bodily creatures and as spiritual creatures, still creatures sharing in the divine life, but in a whole way, Even St. Thomas says that the body, or the soul, it even gravitates. It's got a kind of transcendent relationship with the body, even when it's separated from the body. It kind of looks for the body. It's like, a helium balloon, it kind of goes down, looking for the body in that sense,
And would you say that some of the characteristics of a rational soul would be things like reason, free will, capacity for love? What would you say some of the characteristics are or are not?
Yeah, those two things you said are fundamental. We're capable of personal agency. It means that I'm the originator of my actions. Okay, they begin with me. St. Thomas would say I'm causa sui, okay, which means I'm the cause of myself, or I'm my own cause. Not in the fact that I created myself, but that I'm actually starting actions. They begin with me, my freedom, and that makes me responsible. Also, I'm a knowing, I'm a reasoning being. I can look around, I can make delineations, I can categorize, like Adam did at the beginning, categorized, gave names to all the animals, I can make distinctions. So that's a part of my rational capacity. And I can look at my own life almost objectively sometimes, I say, that wasn't objectively a very good thing to do, I can give this spiritual commentary on myself, so we can look at ourselves almost like in the third person at times. So that's a unique ability we have among visible creatures. The animals don't have that ability.
Could we talk a little bit about creation, like how, our origins as a species, as a rational incarnate spirits? Would it be sort of along the lines of sort of that God would use natural processes to bring about the matter that then he imbued at some point in our development a rational soul? Or I'm just thinking of like the fossil record, we're looking at caves in the like prehistory, where we're seeing evidence of man's ability to think in an abstract way. We see cave art representing people and doing human things. So sort of it kind of demonstrates this sort of abstract understanding of ourselves. And we even see that in sort of Neanderthal settlements and things like this, which are a subspecies, a different species, not necessarily like Homo sapiens. I'm just wondering like how, I marvel about God's creation. I think it's just so marvelous how, if that was the path he chose, it's almost God becomes bigger in my small imagination.
Yeah, there can be development of the body over time, so over many centuries, and beyond that, we could believe, the evolution of the body, the processes that form a body that looks, hominid body. The human body is one that's infused with a rational soul, okay? So in Catholic teaching, coming from Pius XII, Humani Generis, we're committed to the fact that God creates the rational soul, he infuses it into a body. Okay, that's what gives the body its form or what it is. Okay, it becomes a human body once the soul is in there. So we can believe that there was the development process as regards the corporeal nature, that the body became formed, became more upright and things like that. We could believe that, but there's a terminating point, okay? We have to believe that God has this special act of creation, you could say, where he infuses the rational soul in Homo sapiens, about what, when we see that kind of birth of culture, somewhere in Africa where suddenly there's cave paintings, there's more sophisticated tools, it's a far more complicated, sophisticated way of being. So that's more Neanderthal, it's more than the hominid culture.
Musical instruments.
Yeah, those things, so there's a change here, there's a kind of a shift.